We were promised that Judgment Day, after their win over AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Liv Morgan at Hell in a Cell, would reveal their newest member later in the show. I was surprised we didn't get a fourth member revealed at the pay-per-view, but they said, tonight on Raw, we're going to reveal the fourth member. Little did we know that it would be the final entrance for Edge as part of his own group. Edge came out, he praised Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. He said that somebody else was listening to their message as well. And then he introduced us to their newest addition, and we got the long dramatic pause before Finn Balor's music played. I said it the night before during the Hell in a Cell review. We didn't get the Balor turn on Sunday, but I still thought it was coming. It was only delayed by 24 hours. Edge said that he was elated when he found out that Balor had reached out to Priest and Ripley. Balor said he's tired of pretending to be something he's not. Now he can see clearly. He spoke with Priest and Ripley and realized that they have a lot in common. Mainly that they're tired of being told what to do. At which point Priest turned to Edge and he called him one of the greatest of all time, and he taught them so much. He taught them to get rid of any limitations on themselves. And they're ready to remove their biggest limitation of all that's been holding them back, and that's Edge. And Edge had a confused look on his face. It's probably the same look that most people watching on TV had. And Priest clotheslined him. Balor, Priest, and Ripley, they all started stomping a mud hole in him. Priest gave him a choke slam. Balor hit the coup de grace. Edge tried to fight back. They powerbombed him through the announce desk. And still, Edge was reaching up. He was clawing at Balor's foot, trying to fight back, so they tossed him back into the ring. Rhea broke the bottom piece off of a steel chair, handed it to Balor. He placed the metal bar across Edge's mouth. He wrenched back on it. Priest then slid a chair under Edge's head. He delivered a concerto. Rhea was fending off all the referees and agents with another chair. It was chaos. WWE later announced that Edge suffered an orbital floor fracture as a result of the attack. I was surprised there were no contusions. How about that? A medical update on somebody in this company and no mention of any contusions. I guess they didn't want to give out any more contusions because they already did that with Happy Corbin the week before. When Madcap attacked him, they said Corbin was diagnosed with a neck contusion. They have filled their contusion quota for the month. It was a swerve that I definitely did not see coming, so if they were trying to shock people, they got me. This might be a hot take, right? Is that what they call it? A hot take? I don't think it is. And I'll bet I'm not the only one who thinks this. But Edge has been very boring since he turned heel, heading into WrestleMania. When he did the heel turn on TV against AJ Styles, heading into their match, ever since then, especially since the Judgment Day stuff really started, when he comes out and does these promos, I have found him to be very boring. You know, first of all, it was a heel turn that wasn't even necessary. They could have just matched him up with AJ at Mania, two baby faces, let the fans choose who they want to cheer for. That would have been very, very easy to do. But they felt they had to turn Edge, or maybe that's what he wanted. Maybe he wanted to go heel. And I gave it a chance because Edge was at his best as a heel, the rated R superstar, right? It's the run that he's most remembered for. So I gave it a chance, and I like the idea of him handpicking some newer faces to try to give them the rub and work with them. He had the cool entrance with the music, and that part of the presentation was A+. But the promos, very dull, very repetitive, bashing the fans, calling them sheep, talking about mountains of omnipotence. Very boring. Very boring. They didn't give it much time, but I'm kind of glad they cut bait and they didn't outright kill the entire group. Instead, they took it in a different direction. And that direction involves Finn Balor, who desperately needed something. You only have to look back to his return to NXT 3 years ago when he turned on Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. That's the Finn Balor I was hoping to see once he made his way back to Raw and SmackDown, and we didn't get that. Now, maybe we can get some of that Finn Balor back. But does Vince McMahon all of a sudden see Finn Balor as main event material? Of course not. Of course not. He hasn't for a while now. By linking him up with Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, though, if they're serious about pushing those two, then by association, maybe Balor has a chance to have some kind of well-defined role on this show for a change, other than just putting other people over. On his own, he was going nowhere. Now, on the flip side, these people have brain worms. The timing of this is beyond stupid. Edge pinned Balor at Hell in a Cell. Edge won the match for his team. Balor lost the match for his. Then 24 hours later, Priest and Ripley decide to turn on the guy who won and go with the guy who lost the night before. That's some pretty bad judgment right there for a group that literally has the word judgment in its name. Maybe they should change the name of the group to Bad Judgment Day. You know, Edge went, he cut his hair, he cut weekly promos on you people. You people, right? He called us all sheep. Bah, right? We're all sheep. Only for them to turn around and remove him from the group, and now he is a babyface again. So I can't wait for the promos where he tells us, you know, when I said you people, I didn't really mean you people here in this building. I didn't mean you people in the literal sense. I meant the other people. The lizard people. Fuck those people. You know, watching this on Monday, I figured the reason they did this, and I'm sure this is the primary reason they did this, was because there's no way when Judgment Day won their match at Hell in a Cell that they knew they were kicking Edge out of that group the next night. There's no way. This was not a well thought out plan. Balor was going to be the fourth member, but I don't believe the plan for a second was ever for Edge to be kicked out of the group this soon. The reason they did it was at least partially a reaction to Cody Rhodes going down with an injury. He was the top babyface on Raw. And now he's gone. They need another top babyface, so they decided to turn Edge back. But then came a report from Fightful Select that Edge may have been opposed to future plans WWE had to add a supernatural element to the stable. And the decision was made to remove him on Monday afternoon. Now, I want to make clear, Fightful never drew any cause and effect from that. I don't believe they ever outright said that Edge was kicked out of the group because of this. So I still do believe it primarily had to do with the Cody injury, but it does make you wonder. How much did his opposition have to do with the decision to pull him from the group? Or did he pull himself from the group? Did he push for it because he didn't want to have anything to do with what their version of the Judgment Day was going to be? You know, they already dabbled in the supernatural crap a couple of months ago after WrestleMania. Remember the match on TV between Damian Priest and AJ Styles? That just ended. There was no decision. There was nothing. AJ was getting ready to hit the phenomenal forearm. All of a sudden the lights went out. When they came back on, I don't know where AJ was, but we got the creepy blue light and the zoom in on the weird eyes on Damian Priest. They went to commercial, they came back, and they just moved on with the show. If Edge was opposed to it, then it may be for the better that he has nothing to do with it, because Vince McMahon is going to do what he wants to do, even though this group was Edge's baby. It was his creation. I doubt he ever intended for it to be a stable of wizards and witches. Right? AEW already has a stable with a wizard in it, as it is, and he'll throw a fireball in your face. We don't need more wizards. You know, if this was meant to be something of like a new brood, because it really was, it did come off that way. Look, we've seen Edge come out dressed in this robe. It was almost like he was trying to be the Undertaker from the Ministry of Darkness days. Like, there's a lot of callbacks, whether it's the Ministry or the Brood. Clearly, they were influences on what he was trying to do or how he was trying to kind of portray this group. But if this was meant to be something of a new brood, there was never anything overtly supernatural about the old brood, other than they would occasionally drop red paint from the ceiling on people. That was about it. I don't know what their obsession is with the supernatural. I guess because it worked with Kane and The Undertaker, 25 years ago. Then we got The Fiend and the Lady Fiend with Alexa Bliss shooting fireballs in Randy Orton's face. This could have been a cool group without all of the supernatural stuff. I like the vibe, for example, in AEW with the House of Black. Now, they don't get pushed very hard, but they have the House of Black over there. There's no supernatural stuff involved. I mean, the lights go out, they appear, they disappear. That's not really supernatural. That's been done in wrestling for decades. The lights go out every week. The mist to the face, that's been done for decades. They don't need supernatural elements to make this work. But they do have the demon. Now that Finn Balor is in the group, they could resurrect the demon. I wouldn't even bother. The demon died last year when he fell off the top rope. Fell flat on his demon face. Forcing supernatural elements on Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley sounds awful. And I hope they don't go through with that. As far as Edge goes, I'm going to get to him in a bit because where they go with him next, I think, could tie in with a certain announcement they made on Monday about a name from his past. Rhea Ripley won a fatal 4-way at the end of the show on Monday to earn a Raw Women's Championship match with Bianca Belair at Money in the Bank. You knew I would like that because I've been waiting to see a program with Rhea and Bianca. I wanted them to do it at SummerSlam. They still could. They could do a screwy finish at Money in the Bank, and then Rhea could win the title in the rematch at SummerSlam, or they could change the title at Money in the Bank, and then Bianca gets her rematch at SummerSlam. I think it would have been better for them to save the swerve with Balor and Edge for the end of the show. Especially with Rhea, she won the main event. They could have shot the angle after the match was over, coming back from commercial. You tease a new member, right? You make people wait all night until 10:53. Who's going to be the fourth member of the Judgment Day? And then you give us the swerve, and that's how you go off the air. But they didn't do that.